Hi everyone. Today we're going to do a project with Cricut's brand new printable iron-on holographic kit. In the kit you get 4 sheets of printable iron-on for dark. You get 4 sheets of the holographic laminate. And then you'll also get a giant sheet of Cricut's parchment paper. I cut mine in half because I only need half. Now I've pre-printed our design just to make this a little bit shorter. And I've got the laminate sheet right here. I printed my design on my Epson EcoTank 4700. I just used the settings for matte photo paper, and I printed in normal quality because I don't really want to super saturate the paper. And then that's been drying for a little while, and I'm using the Cricut heat guide. It tells me we're doing the lamination part first. It says to preheat the Easy Press to 295, which I've done. And we're going to set a timer for 30 seconds, and we want to press this with firm pressure. I am using my Cricut Easy Press 3 in the 10 by 12 size because I needed it to be big enough to cover the entire design. You want to only press this one time. Okay, now according to the instructions, we want to remove just this liner piece. Now this liner is super thin, and there's actually 3 layers here. As you can see, there's a clear plastic layer here, and then you have your holographic layer here, and then you have the liner. Okay, so we're going to remove the liner. And then it tells us to place this with this hard plastic side going down. Well, it's not hard plastic, but it's a little bit thicker. And then we're supposed to place our design directly on top. Now this isn't adhesive or anything, but we do want to make sure that it's smoothed out underneath, that we don't possibly have a wrinkle or a bubble or anything like that. So I'm just going to kind of use my brayer to press that. And then it's telling us to cover our project area with our silicone paper. So I'm going to do that. And then firm pressure for 30 seconds. Now, folks, keep in mind, firm pressure does not mean putting this on the floor and then standing on it. It just means to place your press down and lean on it. That's all I've ever done, and I've never had an issue. I'm not putting all of my weight in it. I'm just leaning on it. Oh, would have helped if I'd have hit the button. I'm going to shave about 5 seconds off of this because I forgot to hit the button. Hit the button. Okay. Then it says to remove our silicone sheet. And we're supposed to allow this to completely cool before touching it, but I am going to try to scooch it off of my cutting board because now my cutting board is also hot. So now we're going to let that sit for a minute and cool. When setting this up in Design Space, I just picked an image that I found in Design Space and I sized it the way I wanted it for the shirt I'm going to put it on. We'll do that part as well. After we do this part, that's when we'll go back to the machine and we'll actually cut it out. And you'll want to make sure you go into your all settings when you're getting ready to cut and select the exact item that you're cutting. And in this case, there is a setting that specifically says Printable Iron-On Holographic Kit. If you don't pick the right setting, it might not cut it out properly. So that's important. Okay, that feels cool. Okay, now it's saying to remove the silicone paper, which we already did, and it's saying to remove this shiny layer. Let's see, this side. So this, as you can hear, is kind of a thicker plastic. Okay, so we're supposed to remove this. And now let's go over to the machine and get this cut out. Okay, we are back at the desk. And you want to use a light grip mat for this because you want to make sure you don't tear the backing of your project while you're cutting or trying to remove it from the mat. Now this mat is practically brand new, so it may stick too much. I'm just going to kind of press my hands on it and hope I can remove enough of the stick that I don't have any issues. Okay, and then I'm going to turn my mat sideways to make it easier for me to work on. And what I usually do is I come just shy of covering the grid line on the top and left. Okay, and I want to make sure that I'm good and smoothed out. And then I'm going to select Printable Iron-On Holographic Kit in my settings. I'm also going to take my blade out and wipe it off real quick just to make sure I don't have any residue on it from something I might have cut previously. Okay, and then what I like to do when I load a mat, I bring it up under these two guide rails on the side. I hold the mat up a little bit and I give it a gentle push as I'm hitting the play button. One of the things I love about the Explorer 5 series machines is that once you press the play button, it'll automatically start cutting right after. You don't have to go back and hit the button again. I'm so excited to see how this turns out. Looks like it's making its second pass now. It should be just about done. And we are done. So now I'm going to eject. Now this is where we want to carefully get it off the mat. Let me scoot you guys down so you can see what I'm doing. Got to get that front row seat in case I mess it up. Now usually what I do is I just kind of fold my mat away from my project. And of course we want to be really careful here because we don't want to tear it. And there are some kind of intricate spots here. That's another thing that's important to remember about printable iron-on. It's really great when you have a lot of different colors and that sort of thing. It's far easier to use printable iron-on than it is to try to use a whole bunch of different layers in different colors of standard iron-on. But you really want your project to be something that's more of just one big piece. Because if you have, like for instance, if this was something I was keeping, when I place this on the shirt, I'm going to have to manually place all of the extra little pieces. You really don't want that. You want something more like this, where your design is pretty much just one big piece so you can just lay it down. Always make sure when you are done cutting that you put your cover back on your mat to help keep it clean and help it to last longer. Okay, now we're going to go back out to the table so that we can press this design onto the shirt. Okay, now we're back at our shirt. Now what I like to do is I like to kind of fold my shirt in half, like so. We want to make sure that we're in half at the top and the bottom. I will lint roll that here in just a second. Let me move my design. And then this is kind of my pre-press. I do this to not only get wrinkles out of the shirt, but I also want to kind of press a seam into the center of the shirt to make applying my decal easier. Okay, now as you can see, we have a nice crease down the middle, and we're gonna lint roll. This is an important step. You want to make sure that you always get any lint, fuzz, hair, any of that sort of thing off of your garment, because if you don't, it's going to get trapped under your design and it may cause it to help lift later. Okay, I think I'm pretty good in the area I'm going to place the design. Okay, now I usually go, this is an adult shirt, so I usually go about 3 or 4 fingers down from the neck. Now with printable iron-on, you don't want this on here. So we want to come up to an edge. And carefully peel it away from the backing. Would really help if I had not just cut my nails. Okay, there we go. Now this design has some intricate parts into it on the edges and such, so I'm going to peel carefully here. I don't want to accidentally tear it. Now you do whatever works the easiest for you. For me, once I get it started, placing it down on my table so that I can kind of hold it down as I go makes it easier. Okay, now this little star up here has got a point on it that I don't want to lose. So I'm going to peel the rest of this bottom. Get this edge up here. There we go. Okay. Now we have our design. It's probably hard for you guys to see, but I can still see my seam in the middle. And I'm probably going to come about 4 fingers down on this one. And all of this curling that you see, that is something that is very likely to happen when you're working with printable iron-on if you have frills or edges. Let's see, I think I kind of like it right there. But that's where our cover sheet comes in handy. You just lay your cover sheet down and you can see through it. So you can see, you know, if you have something that didn't quite lay down, you'll be able to see it. Okay, now for this part, we're down into the other part. I've already preheated. I've done all of that. Okay, and you place it printed side up on your shirt, your silicone paper over the top. Now this one's saying to press it 250 for 30 seconds. So I'm going to lower the temp on my heat press. And then we're going to wait for it to cool down. Okay, we're now cooled down to 250. And this one is telling us firm pressure again. So we want to make sure our design is covered, and also make sure that if you have a collar on your shirt, it is not sitting on top of your surface, because that will stop you from getting even pressure. This time we'll hit the button. And your care instructions for this after you're done is to wait at least 48 hours before you wash it. And you want to wash it inside out in cold water and hang it to dry. Do not put these in the dryer. Okay. Oh, look at that, guys. Can you see the bit of a shimmer from the holographic? Doesn't that look awesome? I think that project turned out great. And it doesn't feel, it really doesn't feel any thicker. I mean, I know it obviously is because it has an extra layer on it, but it really feels great. And it's got some stretch. I really like this product. I hope you guys liked the project. I will put a link for it down in the description where I've already got it sized for as big as you can go with Print and Cut. And happy crafting.